Antonina entered the store and froze in indecision. The neighbors had said that Polish silk dresses had arrived here. Antonina had spotted one for herself, but felt too shy to try it on last time. She wasn't used to new clothes. And there it was, that dress. On a milky background, delicate flowers, the silk flowing like a little cloud. The woman stroked the smooth fabric with her fingers, and then noticed her unkempt hands. Antonina's fingers were scratched from cutting nettles for the piglets on a board, and the green stains wouldn't wash off. "What is it, Tanya? Need some help?" asked the saleswoman Klavka with hidden mockery. However, even the most backward layers of the population were drawn to fashionable updates. Antonina flinched and sharply pulled her hand away, saying nothing, but continued, "What are you up to? Not getting all dressed up like you're going on a date? Pretty yourself up for your lawful husband Oleg. He'll be back soon, haven't you heard?" Tanya blushed. "What are you talking about? Why would I need your foreign dresses? Where would I wear them? To milk the cows or cut grass for the piglets and chicks?" She laughed to hide it. The man Klavdia mockingly replied, leaning over the counter, "Oh, sure, keep telling yourself that. One magpie brought it on its tail that you've got a suitor. Is it true, or are they lying?" Antonina blushed again and muttered, "Those gossiping women. You can't open your mouth in this village without lies spreading. It's all nonsense. Klavka, give me a loaf of bread and a bag of sugar and I'll go. The kids are home alone." Tanya paid, and glancing back at the dress stealthily, left the store, slamming the iron door. Klavdia watched through the window as Antonina strode widely out of habit, pulling her scarf down over her eyes, and sighed. What a prickly one. You can't say a word without her taking it the wrong way. Maybe I would have suggested she try on that dress herself. Meanwhile, the woman approached the hanger with the dress and twirled it thoughtfully. What a beautiful dress. Tanya has good taste, even if she always walks around in some work clothes. Should I take it for myself? Exactly. I'll take it for myself. She can do without. Meanwhile, Antonina hurried home. The kids were alone, and Volodka had been gone for a long time. Search high and low for her hubby. From afar, she noticed someone standing by the gate waiting for her. As Tanya got closer, she blushed again. What a day this is, so tricky and teasing. That new neighbor Kostya was looming like a tower. He saw her, stepped forward, and smiled. "Hello, Antonina Ivanovna. Sorry for coming uninvited. Just for a minute. This is for you," and he handed her a bouquet of white water lilies. Antonina was flustered. No one had ever given her flowers in her life, and not just field daisies, but white lilies. Hesitantly, she reached out and took the flowers. They faintly smelled of pollen and river coolness, as if the neighbor had brought her a bit of summer morning. Suddenly, something fell in the house. By the sound, a cup broke. The kids. Antonina snapped out of it, shoved the flowers back into Konstantin's hands, and said unkindly, "Go to the club and pick up some single girl, unmarried. Give her your broom. I have kids and a husband, by the way, so people don't gossip about me in the village. I'm a decent woman, got it? And don't come to me anymore." Tanya pushed him aside with her shoulder, went into the yard, and slammed the gate loudly.
Konstantin twirled the bouquet of lilies in his hands and stuck it into a crack in the gate. He lingered by the fence, looked over the dilapidated house with peeling frames, and slowly walked away. He didn't see the woman's hand carefully pull the bouquet from behind the peeling picket and smell the unfamiliar flowers once more. Tanya cooked lunch, fed the kids, then watered the livestock, tied up the tomatoes, did the laundry and hung it out, washed and cleaned the dishes, then tended to the animals again, washed the kids, put them to bed. Tanya made the bed and lay down herself. She couldn't sleep. Various thoughts crowded her head about everything, herself, her husband, and the kids. She felt stuffy, then chilly. She tossed and turned for a long time and finally couldn't stand it. She threw a knitted shawl over her shoulders and went out to the porch, sitting on the step, lost in thought again. "Where did you come from, on my head? Bringing me flowers, too?" Caustic, murmured Antonina, "as if I need to fall for some traveling young man." Tanya had been a sullen girl since childhood, unattractive, silent, with a scar on her face. As a little girl, she had fallen off a fence and impaled herself on a nail. The paramedic treated the wound, put in 4 stitches on her cheek. If she'd gone to the city, they could have done it more neatly. She was a girl, after all, but here, such a flaw. Tanya's mom ran around the village, but how to get to the city? Neighbor Vitka had his car disassembled. Kuzmich refused to drive. He had colic. Mom looked at the bandage. No blood. It's healing. Well, to hell with it. The kids teased her later. The scar turned out long and red. Tanya cried, got offended at everyone, and then withdrew into herself. She didn't like looking in the mirror. Her gaze immediately hit that ugly mark. She grew up stately, blood and milk, if not for that scar. Because of it, everyone called Antonina marked, and sincerely considered her ugly. Who needs such a crooked one? Guys didn't court her. They took girls even worse in appearance, but without a damaged face. She thought she'd remain an old maid, but God had mercy. Antonina got married, not because she fell in love, just because she was asked. Volodka himself wasn't much to look at, hawk-nosed, skinny as a rail, so he wasn't in demand with the girls. Plus, he was a bit lame. His left leg dragged a little, not too noticeable, but the girls noticed. Another reason no one went for Volodka. Antonina deserved a better husband, tall, stately, to match her. Oh, if not for that mark on her face. They had 2 kids, twins, Petka and Mashka. Life was hard for the young couple, not harmonious. Volodka was no kind of man, to put it bluntly. No head on his shoulders, no hands in the right place. He couldn't build or fix anything. Antonina did her husband's work herself to avoid shaming him, finishing his mistakes, nailing here, painting there, sanding where needed.
But her husband's character was no picnic. Hot-tempered, often raising a hand to his wife without reason, Tanya endured it for a long time. Once, her husband pushed pregnant Antonina so hard she feared she'd have to go to the hospital. It passed that time, but gritting her teeth, Tanya told her husband, "Enough, you won't raise your hand anymore." He got scared a bit. Her eyes weren't joking. In general, but then, after drinking with friends, he came home intending to wave his fists again. But Tanya grabbed the oak kitchen board she used for dumplings and preempted him. She whacked him so hard, he whimpered and fled the yard through the gardens. She whacked him good. Since then, her hubby quieted down. Another story happened with the neighbor Dashka. Turns out, Volodka had taken to peeping at her in the bathhouse. Who'd like that? Darya doused Tanya's hubby with hot water from the window, but it didn't end there. Darya complained to her husband, Vasily, that Tanya's husband was peeping in the bathhouse windows. Vaska didn't hesitate, caught Vovka in the act and gave him a good beating, man to man. After lying around for a week and a half, bruises still not gone, Volodka decided to leave to avoid more trouble. He was already being laughed at. "I'm leaving, Antonina, to my brother. Better earnings there than here. Then maybe I'll take you and the kids later, somehow." He packed a backpack with cold weather clothes, took the money Antonina had saved, saying he needed it more now. But almost 4 years had passed, the kids had started school, and from her hubby, not a word or whisper. Konstantin appeared in their village about 6 months ago. He settled on the edge of the village in Granny Marfa's house. They said his relatives had swindled him and left him penniless, taking his business, though no one knew for sure and he didn't talk about it. Granny Marfa was glad for such a tenant, non-drinking, sensible, golden hands. He immediately fixed what had been falling apart in the house for ages, even set up the antenna so Granny watched the news like in a cinema. One flaw in the new arrival, a long scar on his face, old, even whitened over time. But strangely, as if scars really do adorn men, no one noticed his flaw. Any girl would be glad if he invited her to the club for a movie or dances. But he walked as if blindfolded, noticing no one, only glancing at Antonina. "Beauty, can you tell me where to find your director?" A baritone, saying unfamiliar things unexpectedly. She looked around just in case. Yes, they were alone. Was he calling her Beauty? She waved toward the side. "Go there, to the post office." He went, and she thought, must be blind or something. Where did he see a beauty here? And she tried to forget it. Some stranger said it out of politeness. But Kostya started crossing her path more often. Always beauty this,
beauty that, smiling with all 32 teeth. One day she couldn't stand it. Are you blind, good man? What beauty am I? Open your eyes. He was genuinely surprised. What do you mean? Who are you then? You're so comely, stately, dexterous, a match for me. Antonina turned her face so her cheek scar was clearly visible. And this? Didn't see this? He was genuinely surprised again. No, for me, you're perfect. So what if a scar? You walk with one just like mine. Look. He turned to her, even leaned in so she could see better. We have the same scars, you and me. We're both marked. Tanya spat in anger. Truly a fool, by God. It's one thing for a man. A scar's no flaw, but for a woman, it's disfigurement. There's no disfigurement. Want me to take you to a clinic to remove that mark on your face? Want to? But honestly, it doesn't bother me. You're the most beautiful. Antonina just waved her hand and walked away. Let him find his chairman and leave me alone, some lunatic. But whatever Antonina did, she couldn't get him out of her head. It got to the point where she noticed herself looking in the mirror, not turning away frowning as usual, but smiling at her reflection. Then, instead of her usual gray scarf pulled over her eyes, she tied a light kerchief from the chest, a new one with flowers. And today he came and brought flowers again. Why, one might ask? A lonely woman with 2 kids. What's there to take from her? This flower is called Knight's Heart for you, beauty. But she didn't throw away the bouquet of many pink hearts. Beautiful. But on the other hand, what should she do? Her husband vanished 4 years ago, no sound from him. And here a handsome, enviable man is paying attention. Any woman would marry him. Even Volodka, the beauty, bats her eyes at him. Antonina didn't dare think about it. Could she really appeal to him? It can't be. It can, Tanyushka, it can, a voice said from the darkness. Tanya startled. She'd been speaking out loud. Lately, she'd been talking to Kostya in her mind, and now out loud. What did you like about me? I'm damaged. My face is scarred. Not damaged at all, Konstantin objected. The most beautiful in the world. Will you marry me? And Antonina believed him, that she was a beautiful woman and could be loved just as she was, with the scar across her face, and that she had a right to happiness. So they stood for a long time on the porch, embracing, listening to each other's heartbeats, even forgetting about time. Goodness, it's dawning. The night flew like a moment, Tanya realized. The animals to milk, kids to get ready for school, but she wasn't grumbling as usual. She chirped like a morning bird. Then Kostya moved in with Petka and Moshka. He solved equations that she couldn't grasp, and with Petka he was always making something in the shed, launching kites, floating wooden boats in the river. Tanya, supporting her belly with one hand, was hanging out the washed laundry in the yard when suddenly, from behind, "Is the owner home?" She turned immediately and dropped the basin with laundry in surprise. Volodka smirked, eyeing her from top to bottom, and said, "Didn't expect your beloved husband home, I see. Didn't expect. When the cat's away, the mice will play." Antonina, with pale lips, stammered in defense, "But you left, Volodya, and disappeared without a trace. We thought you weren't alive anymore." He grinned. "Well, here I am, showed up. Thought I'd make my wife and kids happy. Where are the kiddos, wifey?" "At school. They'll be back soon. They're so big already. Time flies." "Not that much time." He stared at her belly again. Tanya got angry and advanced on him, waving a towel. "Not much? Want to ask how we lived? We didn't see a penny from you all this time, so turn around and go back where you've been hanging out." Volodka backed away in surprise, then fell. Tanya rushed to him. He lay without breathing, no color in his face. "What's wrong? Don't scare me." She patted his cheeks. No reaction. When Konstantin returned from work, the house was silent. The kids sniffled guiltily, trying to do homework. He kissed Tanya on the cheek and casually asked, "What's happened here? A strike? Kids punished or something?" Tanya set a plate with dinner on the table and suddenly sank heavily onto a chair.
"Sit down, Kostik," she asked in a hoarse voice. He sat and asked worriedly, "What happened? You're scaring me." Antonina cried, wiping tears with her kerchief, and nodded toward the room. "Kostya, he's back. Volodymyr. Is he sick or what?" "I don't know. Haven't called the doctor yet. He's breathing evenly, seems okay. He just collapsed at the gate like a sack. Good thing Petka and Masha came back. We three dragged him into the house, laid him on the bed. Kostik, what do we do now?" Konstantin paced the room nervously, cracking his knuckles. "What does he say? Where's he been all this time?" he asked. Tanya wiped her tears again. "He says he was in prison, Kostya, jailed for theft. Says he wrote to me, but I didn't get any letters, I swear. Also says he got seriously ill there and he has nowhere to go. Kostya, this house is his too. What do we do now? Everyone will laugh, say Tanya has no husband 1 minute, then 2 in the house." She sobbed. Konstantin understood he couldn't kick Vovka out. He returned to his own home. He was the owner here, and Kostik was like a guest. They decided with Tanya, let him stay until he recovers and gets on his feet, then plan further. You can't decide everything today anyway. Konstantin left for work at dawn. Tanya spun like a squirrel in a wheel, cook, clean, wash clothes, tend livestock. The kids quieted down, tried to help their mom as they could, at least not scatter their clothes. But Volodymyr stubbornly didn't improve. Tanya was dead on her feet. Konstantin got angry. Volodka, when no one saw, smirked. A month passed, then a second, but nothing changed. However, Antonina suffered the most. By law, she was Volodka's wife, in life, Konstantin's, but not registered. Even in the village, no one said a word about their family situation. They lived quietly like mice in a barn. No one saw or heard them. No one even gossiped or spread rumors about them.
Vladimir lay ill, didn't get up. Konstantin was gone from dawn to dusk at work. Antonia, nearly having a nervous breakdown, ended up in the central hospital. They thought it was a drift, but no, she went into premature labor. Antonina gave birth to twins, a girl and then a boy. Konstantin kissed her and wiped tears from himself and his wife. "Wonderful, my beauty, your kids come in double sets. In the third go, we'll have 2 more, I feel it already." The girl, Antonina, named Minaj, like her mom, and the boy, Kostik, named Dmitri, like his father. But they had to stay in the maternity ward. The kids were a bit premature, needed to gain weight. While Tanya was in the hospital, Kostya tried as best he could, get the kids to school, prepare breakfast for them to take, cook lunch so the kids had enough till evening, then rush to work. As for Vladimir taking care of himself, Konstantin tried not to think. Adult man, he'll manage. If needed, Petka and Masha would look after Daddy. But Konstantin started noticing the kids were always hungry. He was surprised at first. How? They'd eat a big pot of soup he cooked in the morning and still hungry, until Petka let slip, "Daddy Volodya eats everything, nothing left for us for dinner." "Ah, so that's it," Konstantin drawled. He went to Volodka from the threshold. "Listen, sickly one, maybe it's time to know when to leave. You've lived long enough, so I assume you're healthy." Volodka stood up and said mockingly, "That's what I wanted to ask you. We're family, you're extra. Maybe time for you to scram." Clenching his teeth, Konstantin said, "The house may be yours, but the wife isn't. She's the mother of my children, so I won't leave her." When Tanya returned home with the babies, Kostya immediately said, "Volodka's healthy as a bull. Don't think of pampering him. Let him go to work or get out." Though Tanya promised to talk to him, days passed, Volodka didn't budge. Lay there, ate, read newspapers, watched soccer. That was all his activities. Somehow, Konstantin got a good bonus and a day off. Smiling and humming something cheerful, he went to the store and bought treats for everyone. Chocolate candies with nuts for the kids, as they love, a silk scarf in blue flowers for his wife to match her blue eyes, bright rattles for the babies. Anticipating everyone's delight, he entered the house and heard a rude shout. "Volosiki, what slop did you make me? Empty borscht you're shoving? Where's the chicken in it? I'm not a pig to slurp swill." Konstantin froze. Swill? In that tone? He dropped the purchases on the floor, grabbed Volodka by the collar, and dragged him into the yard. Tanyushka, gather his things. He's leaving. I'll show you, pig. I'll feed you, chicken, he thundered. Vovka cowardly ran to the gate and squealed, "Help, good people, save me, call the police. They're kicking me out of my own house, the wretch." Konstantin spat in anger and turned to Tanya. "What are you standing for? I said bring his things. Enough feeding this tick on your neck." But Antonina suddenly cried, "But where do we kick him out? Where can he go, Kostya? He has nowhere. Let him stay for now until he figures out where to go." Konstantin even paled. "No, enough of me and your Volosiki. I've had my fill. Then I'll leave if he won't." And he slammed the gate angrily. Tanya was beside herself. Kostik hadn't come for days. She couldn't stand it and, leaving the babies with the older kids, ran to his work. And there, like thunder from a clear sky, Konstantin quit and left. He hadn't been at Granny Marfa's for a long time either. How so, Granny Marfa? He didn't even take his things. Disappeared, that's it. She shook her head sorrowfully. What help here? All in tears, Tanya returned home. Volodka was already bossing around the house, puffing up like a turkey, commanding the kids, unhappy they wouldn't obey. "I said march to your homework, both of you. I'm your father, clear? Not that traveling man who lived here, he's long gone." Tanya got indignant. "What kind of father are you? Never bought the kids a single candy, never cooked a pot of soup like Kostik. My happiness, where did you come from on my head? Because of you, Kostik left us." And she wept bitterly. Konstantin didn't appear. Antonina turned back into an unwelcoming woman with a scar, in a gray scarf, silent, not a half word to anyone, her gaze dimmed. Volodka decided she'd broken and everything would be as before. He tried to hug his wife proprietarily, for which he immediately got a slap and flew like a sack. Good no one saw. No more attempts. This crazy one's more trouble than she's worth. Somehow, Tanya was rocking the babies, softly singing a lullaby, when she heard Petka's joyful cry, "Hooray! Daddy Kostik's here!" Tanya's hands and legs trembled. She checked if the little ones were well settled and hurried out to the porch. Petka and Mashka hung on Konstantin as he joyfully spun them and immediately commanded, "Get ready right now, we're moving." The kids squealed, ran to the closet to pack things. He approached Antonina. "That's it, beauty. We're done suffering. We're leaving. Let this house stay with Vovka if he needs it so much. We have our own house now. I know you're offended at me, but forgive. I sorted things with my relatives and my inheritance. Now we'll have everything good." Then Tanya and the kids got into Kostya's car and drove away. Their new home pleased everyone so much. Cozy, big, just right for a large family, as big as they planned, because Tanya and Kostya were expecting another set of twins. "I love you so much, my beauty. Well, shall we go to the clinic to remove the scar? I promised once." "Promised? I don't remember. If it doesn't bother you, I've forgotten about it entirely." Antonina divorced her ex-husband and formalized marriage with Konstantin. He had to adopt his own children, so everything was legal and they bore his surname. Volodka soon married Claudia. His wife doesn't give him slack, sent him to work and keeps him in line. No fooling around with her, short talk, a slap and try to peep. Who deserves what, that's what they get.